Alright guys, so the next step we're going to do, we actually kind of start building our bow. Now we got our side plates on there, so we're going to go ahead and throw our rest on. So for this particular bow I'm going to be using, this is a Hamskea Hybrid Hunter. So we're going to go ahead and get that bolted on first. Just thread into our verter bolt. So one thing is, you're putting this on, you want to kind of keep an eye on the rest as you're tightening things down. You just want to make sure we're sitting perpendicular and level to the bow. So the first thing we're going to do now that we have our rest mounted on the bow is we're going to go in and set our elevation on the rest, and we're also going to set our center shots, so our left and right. So I'm going to grab my arrow here. So when looking at your own bow, one thing that you will notice is you do have this bolt hole that comes all the way through your riser. It's called your burger bolt hole. This is where your rest actually mounts to the bow. So that's kind of the perfect center point of this. Now on a 2-cam setup like this, typically what I'm going to try to do is I want my arrow to mostly bisect that, if not just a little bit on the high side of the hole. So because this rest was set up on my Matthews last year, we should be fairly close. Looking at it, we are a little bit lower than what I'd like, so I'm going to go ahead and raise this about 1/16 of an inch. So the next thing we're going to do on this bow is I'm going to go and actually set in my center shot. So most bows, you'll have to make sure you check your owner's manual. Most bows typically nowadays are either going to be like 5/8 or 13/16, 3/4 of an inch, be kind of your most common center shots. So what I'm going to actually do is do this with a micrometer, makes things a lot easier. I'm going to dial it to 13/16. So what we're going to do now, I got 13/16 measured out on my micrometer here, so I'm going to use the back side of this. All we're going to do is we're going to measure off the inside of the riser, and we're going to measure to the exact center of the shaft. So basically where your apex is, the high point of your apex on the curve of the arrow. So again, we're just going to set this right to the front edge of the riser here, and I'm going to bring this other point down and check it. So right now I can see I'm already touching dead center in the middle of the arrow. So we're set at 13/16 here, which is kind of our factory recommendation. We're going to go ahead and leave the rest there, start. Once we start tuning, especially paper tuning, it's going to tell us right away if that's off or on. So this rest is a limb-driven rest. So basically on this one, what we're going to have is a cord tied from the rest, and it's actually going to come down and tie to my bottom limb here. Other limb-driven rests do tie to the top limb as well. Certain rests, especially this one, can be swapped to go top or bottom. It's just kind of personal preference there. Other common one a lot of guys will see is have a rest cord running from the rest itself down to your down cable here. I'm going to actually take my cord and I'm going to tie it to the bottom limb first. Now typically, depending on your rest, when you pull it out of the package, you will have some type of like rubber attachment that's usually going to have double-sided tape. It's usually going to stick to the limb, and what that rubber does, it allows your cord, once you tie it, to really sink into that rubber and won't allow it to slide up and down the limb as you continue to shoot. This particular rest of mine has been mounted on several bows, so all I did prior to doing this, I just took a small piece of rubber I had and I super glued it right to the limb, so we're ready to go there. So to start these knots, I do a real simple setup on mine. Basically, what I'm going to do is just take this tag in, and I like to come from the outside of the limb and around to the inside. What this is going to do once we're tied on here, it's going to give you the most amount of clearance away from cables and from my quiver. So what we're going to do now is take this tag in, and I'm just going to make one loop in it, and I'm going to go around my long piece that'll run up to the rest. And we're just going to put that tag in through the loop that we just created. And all this is going to do is just create a real simple slide knot. So once I have it there, I'm going to actually take my knife and I'm just going to cut my tag end off there. Let's take our lighter and mushroom this real well. Now with this knot, you can simply just walk it down the string and kind of walk it right over your rubber piece. And then you just cinch it down and it'll actually self-tighten. And a lot of times when you just have it loose like this, not attached to the rest, it may not tighten quite as much as you think it should. But once we get everything under tension, everything will be perfect and stable and never move on us. So now with this Hamskea, with their attachment point, they do use this lower spring on the Hybrid Hunters. So all we're going to do is just take our tag in again, run it through the loop, and you can pull it down tight. Personally, for my setup, I like to actually serve my cable in. When you buy your Hamskea Hunter out of the package, it will come with a small cord clamp that'll attach these, super quick and easy to do. So what I'm going to do on mine personally, again, just like we did on the bottom loop, I'm just going to tie another slide knot up top. And pull those tight. Now eventually, like I said, once I get the tune finalized on this bow, this will be served in, but right now for the tuning purposes, as I'm kind of working and tweaking on things, I will leave this loose simply because now I can loosen the cord back up and my rest is sitting in the upright position. So now we kind of have our rest set up, ready to go. We're ready to go into the tuning process with this. What we're going to do next is actually strap on the rest of our accessories, and then we're going to move actually syncing the cams and timing the bow. As always, guys, if you have any questions on any of the products that we're using today, or if you have any questions on how or why I'm setting up a particular thing the way that I am, be sure to drop any comments down in the section below. I'll make sure to answer you guys. Also, make sure to hit the subscribe button. What that's going to do is send you an email every time we launch a new video. It's also going to let you know when we have the rest of the videos in this series put up on as well.